Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavijyankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Jai Gurudev. Yeah, it was very nice actually yesterday when I opened the Zoom to see Nana on the screen. It was very good. I'm glad that we're revising what we've done, but we'll continue with the second chapter from where we left yesterday. So, day before yesterday, dharma and adharma are universal. So we saw that kaushala is your capacity to interpret correctly. It is not just the skill in action. It is not being effective in what you do, but it is the capacity to interpret correctly. This capacity to interpret with reference to norms for human interaction is the discretion, the expertise. The norm for human interaction is called dharma, and the opposite is called adharma. Dharma and adharma form the standard norms. They are not absolutes in that they have to be interpreted according to the given situation. This is again important to underline. So the person who can interpret them properly is called kushala. So there is no one rule fits all. So the rules have to be interpreted according to the given situation. Dharma and adharma are not to be interpreted according to convenience, but must be in line with what is proper. Proper interpretation of dharma is what is meant by kaushala. Kaushala is yoga because, again, you are not in the hands of your raga dveshas when you exercise discretion in your choice of action. Dharma and adharma are universal. The man in the story has raga dveshas. Remember that story of the man coveting his neighbor's gold? He made a tunnel to go to and pick up all that gold. He is ready to take the consequence. So he is asking the Swamiji whether he will be considered as a karma yogi, right? But the man in the story has raga dveshas. His raga is for the money and the dvesha is for his neighbor to whom the money belongs. He wants to go by his raga dveshas and they are totally against dharma and adharma. What should not be done, he is doing. Therefore, he is going against dharma, which means he is doing adharma. But could it not be said that this is all a man made order? No. Suppose in a particular country there is no law against stealing. Does that mean that if someone takes away what belongs to another, it would not be called stealing? No, it would still be called stealing. This is not the same as the man made convention that traffic shall proceed on the right. We naturally all proceed on the right because to do otherwise is a definite risk to life and limb, and it is also illegal. Even if you say you are ready to take the risk, the police will not let you because you are not the only one involved. Other people will be in danger. Convention then we can describe as man made. But is the law against stealing man made? No, because the law that stealing is not right is not man made, it is universal. If no one had anything that was his or her own, there would be no stealing. So, if no one had anything that was his or her own, there would be no stealing. Even though there would be people, there would be nothing to steal, and therefore no one can steal from the other. However, everyone has something of his or her own, and therefore there is going to be stealing. Even a Swami has a begging bowl and a mala. These are the two important symbols, linga, of a sadhu, and he's supposed to carry them. There are thieves for this also, especially now that they have become rare and therefore costly. Thus, even sadhus can lose their few possessions because as long as anyone has something that is his or her own, there is such a thing called stealing. This is universal. Like adharma, dharma also is universal and is not man-made. Dharma is something that is commonly sensed by a human being and is meant for human interaction. I live and let live. I want to be left alone in the sense that I do not want the few possessions I have to be stolen. And at the same time, I let others live in the same way. There is a particular order that is sensed commonly, and this order, called dharma, is the very basis upon which we are supposed to interact with our fellow beings. The scriptures confirm this and also say that if you go against the order, your action produces what is called papa for you. The scriptures do not tell us what is right and wrong, dharma and adharma. Thou shalt do this, thou shalt not do that, etc. They merely confirm what we already know. We do not need anyone to tell us these things. Indeed, our knowledge is such that we tell everyone else. Scriptures the world over merely confirm the existence of a common sense dharma. It is not that they came into the world at certain periods of time and finding there was no dharma established one. People knew what was right and wrong before the scriptures came along. Choice in action implies norms. This common sense dharma is there for a human being because because he or she has a choice in action. This choice implies a set of norms which must be known. If these norms, the dharma, were not there, the creation would be defective. I could not have been given a chance without having also been given the norms that go with the choice. This would be something like giving a Ferrari to someone who is drunk and does not know how to drive, or giving it to someone when it has no brakes. So, dharma is actually embedded in the creation, and this common sense dharma. Having been given a choice, the norms should be common to all without any education being necessary. This is a very important aspect of dharma. To be given a choice, but no knowledge of the norms, would also be a defect in the creation. If I did have to be educated about these norms, then no one would have the same opportunity to receive this education. Then certain people would be stealing or getting hurt because they never knew they should not steal or get hurt. They were never taught. Therefore, without any education at all, I know that I should not steal or get hurt. I also know that others do not want to be stolen from or be hurt. This then is the common norm. So dharma is actually, it's a part of creation. It's an important aspect and it is part and parcel of creation. What is equally common to you and me is the norm on the basis of which we can choose our actions. What I do not want from others, I find others also do not want from me. Therefore, we have a common norm, dharma, and the person who is able to interpret his or her to be done actions in terms of the dharma has kaushala. I repeat this last one. What is equally common to you and me is the norm on the basis of which we can choose our actions. What I do not want from others, I find others also do not want from me. Therefore, we have a common norm, dharma, and the person who is able to interpret his or her to be done actions in terms of the dharma has kaushala. Let us now complete the story of the man who wants to continue his plans to steal his neighbor's money and take the result as prasada. He will only be fulfilling one part of the Karma Yoga definition. The other part will remain unfulfilled because there is no kaushala. He is not even interpreting. He is going against the very dharma. If someone wanted to rob him, how would he take it? He would not allow it, which means that he should not rob anyone else because it is a wrong action. If everyone were simply to say, so what, to all the norms, all we would have would be confusion. Even today, the society is not so confused that we are prevented from conducting our lives. People more or less do follow some norms. If everyone were to do exactly what they wanted, they would be hitting others, robbing them, and so on, all of which would be going against dharma. There would be no order, only confusion, and no one could live his or her life. There is order in the world even today. That is why we are able to live peacefully. Some of us do not even have gates or fences because there is dharma. Since there are boundaries that people seem to follow, we cannot say there is no dharma. Of course, there is adharma too, because choice is there and people are sometimes going to abuse their power of choice. The man who wants to rob his neighbor has to be told, along with Arjuna, that he must conform to dharma, even though his likes and dislikes prompt him to do otherwise. It's getting clearer how Arjuna was told to fight, how Arjuna had to be reminded of his Kshatriya dharma. So, interpreting dharma according to the situation, that discretion, that capacity to interpret dharma correctly in different situations, and getting to know what is the to be done actions without any confusion, that is Kaushala. What happens to Ragadveshas then? They are curtailed at the level of action. They must be aligned with dharma and adharma. If there are lingering likes and dislikes which are not in conformity with dharma and adharma, there is no one in my heart to claim them. I do not follow them. I do not join them. They rise and they die a natural death. There is no one to claim them because I have no connection with them. They simply rise as fancies and die as fancies. I go only by what is right and wrong. This is so beautiful. So, at the level of action, Kaushala comes in because you have a choice of action and you're exercising your discretion of correctly interpreting the dharma and adharma for a given situation. So your raga dveshas are being neutralized at the level of the action itself. Whereas when you take everything as prasada, you're having that samatva with respect to the result of your action. So both at the beginning of your action, even before you begin your action, and at the end, the result of your action, there is there is karma yoga coming in there. So raga dveshas can be with respect to the outcome. You might not like the outcome, you might dislike like the outcome or not like the outcome. So having that samatva there with respect to the result of the action, as well as deciding the correct action. So at both ends of the spectrum, you have karma yoga coming into play. So summary of the definition of karma yoga. To summarize then, we have a two-part definition for karma yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate and yoga karma kaushalam. With reference to the results of your actions, there is a sameness, samatva, in your response. Gaining this attitude of samatva depends upon the recognition of Ishvara as the karma phaladata, the giver of the fruits of all actions. Whatever result you gain, the laws do not cheat you in any way. Therefore, as a karma yogi, you have the same attitude towards both the desirable and undesirable results of your actions. Karma phale samatva buddhihi. Then, with reference to action itself, because there is choice involved, as a karma yogi, you exercise your choice based on certain norms. These norms are indicated by the rules of dharma and adharma. They are universal, common to all, samanya dharma. Even universal laws require interpretation. Although common to all, samanya dharma must be interpreted to accommodate given situation so that it is appropriate to the situation. This interpreted dharma is referred to as Vishesha dharma. Ordinary laws also have similar provisions. That you should keep to the right in traffic is a law that is universal in America. But suppose a huge truck is coming towards me in the same lane. By keeping to the left, the driver of the truck is doing the wrong thing and I am doing the right thing. but I'm driving a very small, lightweight car. By keeping to the right, I am right. But if I refuse to interpret the law and do not budge an inch, because I'm right and he is wrong, I will certainly suffer the consequences. That is why these laws are not absolute. They have to be interpreted according to the situation. Suppose, however, I swerve to the left, making sure that I'm not going to hit anyone in the process, and then return again to the right when I have avoided the truck. Then I have saved the situation. If a police officer sees me going to the left, he or she will not give me a citation, but will go after the truck driver instead. I interpreted the law rightly, and the officer will probably congratulate me for escaping serious injury or death. So, here, rather than sticking to the rule that I should be driving on the right, preserving life becomes priority. In order to preserve life and prevent an accident, the person swerves to the left. So, at every given situation, the choice depends upon what is important, what is the priority there. Every law has an exception. No one has ever made a law, including Bhagavan, without there being an exception. For example, Newton's law of gravitation applies only in certain areas. If you are in a spaceship, peanuts cannot be eaten in the same way as they are eaten here. Instead of going into your mouth when you toss them up, they will go to the right or to the left. Even though Newton's law is really Bhagavan's law, still it does not operate in the same way in all places at all times. Thus, there are no absolute laws. So, being absolutely righteous makes one very stiff. So, it has to be interpreted according to the situation. That there are no absolute laws, however, does not mean that there is no universality. Dharma is universal because I feel the same way as others feel. However, even what is universal has to be interpreted according to the situation. Although you expect people to speak the truth to you and people expect the same from you, sometimes you may have to tell a lie in order to save someone's life. This is Vishesha Dharma or interpreted Dharma. Vishesha Dharma is when someone other than yourself is the beneficiary of the lie. Thus, the differences between dharma and adharma with references to speaking truth depends on whether or not you are the beneficiary of the lie. So, if we understand this correctly, if you are the beneficiary of the lie, of course, you will not say untruth. You will stick to the truth. But if you're the beneficiary of your lie is someone else, then using this Vishesha Dharma aspect, you can utter a lie. Because you want to do it to save someone's life. Other examples of Vishesha Dharma are those dharmas imposed by the scriptures, which are only valid insofar as a given place, time, or culture is concerned. For example, a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, and a Shudra have certain duties to perform within the framework of the Vedic culture only. Therefore, these duties are Vishesha Dharma. I will repeat this last paragraph. So, other examples of Vishesha Dharma are those dharmas imposed by the scriptures, which are only valid insofar as a given place, time, or culture is concerned. For example, a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, and a Shudra have certain duties to perform within the framework of the Vedic society culture only. Therefore, these duties are Vishesha Dharma. Like in societies, like for instance in America, where they do not follow the Vedic culture. So this Vishesha Dharma would not apply. The like the duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, and a Vaishya, Shudra, they do not apply to a culture, to a society which is not governed by this Vedic, by the scriptures. So therefore, it is valid based on the place, time, and culture. Anyone wants to discuss or share anything of their understanding?
Can you explain Samanya and Vishesh comparatively?
Samanya Dharma is something that is universal and common to all. Vishesha Dharma is when you interpret it according to a given situation. Like the example given, right? So, by convention, you're supposed to, the dharma of that land, wherever you're driving, which is you keep to your right, is the Samanya Dharma. Everyone is supposed to follow that. You drive on the right side of the road. But then, when someone else is doing wrong, that other truck is coming in the wrong direction, Vishesha Dharma there is you interpret it correctly. You said, okay, correct, I'm having to drive on the right side of the road. I continue to drive on the right side of the road when that other truck is coming in the opposite direction. I'm ending up in losing two lives. Your life as well as the other person. Of course, it's going to be a head-on collision. But there you interpret rightly and you say, oh, in order to preserve life, in order to prevent an accident, you swerve to the left. Also making sure that you're not hitting anyone. So
And from
that swerving to the left is actually, according to Samanya Dharma, is wrong. You should not have gone to the left side. But it becomes Vishesha Dharma and it becomes right because you have interpreted it, because that situation demanded that. So, Vishesha Dharma is any deviation of the Samanya Dharma which the situation warrants. Like, for example, saying a lie in order to save someone's life. As long as the beneficiary is the other person and not yourself, uttering a lie becomes Vishesha Dharma. Because people can ask, oh, Krishna uttered a lie. He said, Ashwatthama Hata Kunjaraha. How can he be God? Uh, how is he beyond? He's committed a sin by uttering a lie. But that becomes Vishesha Dharma. That is why, in order for us to understand this Vishesha Dharma, Samanya Dharma, I think going to the epics, to Ramayana and Mahabharata, is very important because it is filled with these situations, different scenarios where dharma is interpreted according to the situation. And Samanya Dharma is something that is already part of creation. It is embedded in creation. No one needs to teach you. No one needs to teach you that you should not, in this example given, steal from another person. No one needs to teach you that you should not hurt others. Basically, all the human values, not to disrespect others. No one needs to teach us. We know because deep down we do not want to be disrespected. We do not want to be humiliated. We do not want to be hurt. We do not want to be stolen from.
Thank you, Brahmaji.
And you do not want to be late. You do not want others to be late because I was just thinking about yesterday's situation. Well, my alarm went, but I could not wake up. I was like, I had overslept. So, and of course, thanks to Bela, she stepped in and kept you all engaged with Nana's version. But what I'm saying is, you do not want others to be late. You do not want to be waiting for them. So, therefore, you do not be late. So, all this becomes part of Samanya Dharma, isn't it?
Correct.
So, Karma Yoga implies an understanding of the Lord. Samanya Dharma and Vishesha Dharma should always be the governing factors when exercising your choice with reference to a given action. You cannot go by your raga dveshas alone. When you go by dharma and not by your raga dveshas, you are living an ethical life. Such a life, however, may not be yoga. Yoga comes into the picture only when Ishvara is taken into account. The Gita does not discuss Ishvara immediately. It only does so in the third chapter. Another verse in the 18th chapter explains the role of Ishvara in Karma Yoga. So, just by living your life, not based on Raga Dveshas, but by conforming to Samanya and Vishesha Dharma and having Samatva in the results of your action, is not Karma Yoga. You will have to recognize Ishvara. यतः प्रवृत्तिर्भूतानां येन सर्वमिदं ततं स्वकर्मणा तमभ्यर्च्य सिद्धिं विन्दति मानवः. The one from whom all beings have come into being, by whom all this is pervaded. Worshipping him by performing one's duties, a person attains spiritual success. The Lord is not only the creator, but also the creation. Therefore, the creation is non separate from Ishvara, and Ishvara is both the efficient and the material cause of the creation. No product karya is separate from the material of which it is made. The status of being both the efficient and the material cause is therefore what is meant by Ishvara, and that is the reason why the creation is non separate from the creator. The creator, on the other hand, is independent of the creation in the sense that even without the creation, the creator remains. At the time of dissolution, for example, the entire creation goes back to Ishvara, who alone remains. The creation is like the dream world you create, without which you remain as you are. While the dream world is not independent of you, you can be without it, as you are in deep sleep. Similarly, the creation is not separate from the Creator, the Lord. Anything in the world that is naturally created can be looked at as Ishvara's creation, Ishvara Srishti, just as anything you make may be said to be your creation, Jiva Srishti. Because your free will is involved. There is, however, only some truth in you being the creator of anything. When you say that the house you built is your own creation, you find upon analysis that the statement is not totally true. Because your will and effort are involved, there is some truth to it. But the earth that the house is standing on is not created by you, nor are the laws which allow the house to stand. The materials that are necessary to build and maintain the house are also not created by you. In this way, you come to see that your creation depends on so many aspects which are not created by you. Therefore, nothing is really created by you, although for the time being, we can assume that there is such a thing as Jiva Srishti. So this is quite clear, isn't it? So the Lord is not only the creator but also the creation. And the one from whom all beings have come into being, by whom all this is pervaded. Worshipping Him by performing one's duties, a person attains spiritual success. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. The laws of creation are not separate from the Creator. Your physical body is not created by you. The powers that are necessary to create are not created by you. These are the Lord's creation, Ishvara Srishti alone. Ishvara Srishti includes the laws of Dharma also. These laws are not created by us, they are only sensed by us. Gravitation is sensed by people and by monkeys as well. Birds seem to sense it also. They know that when they want to fly, they must flap their wings in order to take off into the air. Every creature seems to know at least some of these laws since they seem to know what they have to do. The laws that are instinctively known by animals are known to us by our common sense. The laws of dharma are also known to us in the same way. Without any education whatsoever, without being taught, we know what is right and wrong. Although this knowledge is generally called conscience, it is actually our simple common sense knowledge of dharma and adharma, what is right and wrong. It is basic knowledge that everyone has about a fact that is already there in the creation. Just as other laws exist as a part of the creation, the law of dharma also exists as a part of the creation. If the Lord is the creator and the creation is non separate from the creator, then the laws of dharma, being a part of the creation, is also non separate from Ishvara. Then the law of dharma, being a part of the creation, is also non separate from Ishvara. Therefore, dharma becomes Ishvara. The law of karma also becomes Ishvara in the same way. This is why We can worship the Lord as Dharma, and we have even given him 2 hands and 2 legs in the form of Rama. When we say Rama was an avatara, we do not need any history at all. Whether Rama existed or not is irrelevant because he is looked upon only as the Lord. He is Dharma personified. History is necessary only for those who have problems with reference to what is historical. Their concept of the Lord being what it is, such people require history, but we do not require it. Because we do not have even the question whether Rama existed or not. Whether he existed or not also doesn't matter to us because he personifies Dharma. Dharma being Ishvara is timeless, is beginningless. A name and form are given only for the sake of worship and meditation, and that is how Rama, Krishna, and others are presented. Lord Krishna is joy itself. He is nothing but joy, in fact, which happened to have developed 2 hands, 2 legs, a head, and so on, called Krishna, and then, taking a flute in hand, walked about. Therefore, whether Krishna existed or not does not mean anything. Krishna is a particular name and form given to Parameshvara, whose nature is joy, Ananda Swarupa. Similarly, Rama portrays the Lord as Dharma. Thus, we look at the Lord from various aspects in the creation and represent these aspects with many different gods called Devatas. So we have a Devata called Ganesha who is the remover of obstacles. So therefore, the different gods that we have, they say we have Mukkoti Devatas. There's so many, crores of Devatas. Each represents one aspect of creation. So no matter to whom you pray, it ultimately goes to that one divinity. What happens when I look upon Dharma as Ishvara? If I merely conform to Dharma, I am an ethical person. But if I look upon Dharma as the Lord, I worship that Lord by doing what is to be done by me at a given time and place. Dharma is something already established and I come to sense it. Therefore, what is to be done by me, I do. Krishna says that by doing the karma that is to be done by us, we are worshipping him. How can that be? This is also something we must know. Let me repeat this one again. So, what happens when I look upon Dharma as Ishvara? If I merely conform to Dharma, I am an ethical person. But if I look upon Dharma as the Lord, I worship that Lord by doing what is to be done by me at a given time and place. Dharma is something already established and I come to sense it. Therefore, what is to be done by me, I do. Krishna says that by doing the karma that is to be done by us, we are worshipping him. How can that be? This is also something we must know. Everything in the creation has its own dharma. With reference to this cycle of creation, the Lord is the creator. The world is born of him and sustained by him. It is not that he created the world and then went to sleep. The creation is on. Every moment, new cells are born, new things are born. You yourself are born, and new children are born. A continual process of creation, Srishti, existence or sustenance, sthiti, and dissolution, samhara, is going on. This second, a recognized unit of time, is born. And as it is born, it is, and it is also gone. This born is gone is a continuous process. The various living beings on this planet, trees, insects, animals, and human beings, all do exactly what is expected of them. In this way, everything goes well. A tree that has to change its colors before winter comes does so, and it keeps doing so because it is a sugar maple tree, and that is what a sugar maple tree has to do. Being programmed, the tree does exactly what it has to do. If it has to make chlorophyll, it makes chlorophyll. If it has to take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen, it does exactly what it has to do. This is why a sugar cane continues to be sweet and a lime continues to be sour. All vegetation grows upon the same earth and may even belong to the same species. Still, one may be sour and the other sweet. If, for example, a particular orange happens to be a lemon, an orange is an orange and a lemon is a lemon. If one orange turns out to be a lemon, there is a reason for it. It is because a certain programming is there. It is not that an orange tree decided to have some fun, wanting to see the face of the person who bites into a certain orange and discovers it to be a lemon. The tree does not make any such decision to produce a sour orange. Being programmed as it is, it behaves and contributes to the creation exactly as it must, because the creation is on. Ishvara himself is in the form of the very world, the very creation. Therefore, every blade of grass is what it is, and it is Ishvara. Everything in the vegetable kingdom is Ishvara's creation, and having a particular form does exactly what is expected of it, because members of the botanical world do not have free wills. The world of animals is the same. A snail is always a snail. An oyster is an oyster. A jackal is a jackal. A lion is a lion. A cow is a cow. And a turkey is a turkey. All of them are exactly the same. They do not call themselves snails, lions, and turkeys. A cock will fight like a cock. That is why it is a cock. Similarly, monkeys behave like monkeys, exactly as they should, programmed as they are. They all seem to be fine and are intelligent enough. Even turkeys know how to survive when left to their own devices. The fact that they cannot survive the month of November is only due to the way people choose to celebrate Thanksgiving. Only human beings are not programmed. So basically, everything in creation, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, it is all programmed. And they go according to the laws of creation. And the creation is on. It something is born, it remains for a while, and it is gone. So this creation, sustenance, and dissolution is a continual process. It is happening even in our own human body. The cells that are born, that stay and are dissolved, just that we are not aware of it. But human beings are not programmed. Only human beings are not programmed. Why? Because we are given the free will, the choice of action. And that sets us apart from the rest of creation. It is only when you come to human beings, even a small child, that you find the difference. When you call a puppy, it wags its tail and comes every time because it connects your calling it by name with a cookie or some other treat in your hand. But if you call your young child by the same name, whether you hold out a cookie or not, he or she may or may not come. Why? Because the child is much more than a pup. He or she is a complete person with a will of his or her own, asserted from childhood onwards. There is always a problem for this is always a problem for parents, especially when they want the child to perform for guests, for instance. If the child is at all concerned about what others will think, there is no way he or she will perform. Even as adults, most of our worries are based on what others will think, a problem not shared with other living beings. When a cow wants to make a noise, it does so without bothering about what anyone will think. If a dog wants to bark, a donkey wants to bray, or a lion wants to roar, they too do not concern themselves with what others will think. Wherever there is water, all the frogs in the vicinity will gather every evening and put on a concert. The racket they create is so dreadful that you cannot sleep. But the frogs are not at all concerned with what you or anyone else thinks of their music. Only human beings have this problem because they have free will and a self image, half of which depends on what others think. Therefore, they are entirely different and are not going to do exactly what is to be done unless they decide to do so. So, our actions depend upon our decisions, and that decision depends upon our free will. And that is why a human birth is both a blessing and a bane. Blessing if you are able to recognize the rarity of this and the importance of the human life. You can live your whole life and then die like a miser. That is kripana, as in without realizing the purpose of your life, without having attained moksha. Or you can direct your free will to live a life that takes you towards moksha. In the process of growth, a person picks up hundreds of raga dveshas, likes and dislikes. Such fancies are always there, and we find that convenience is usually the order that we follow. That this is why we often do not bother about no trespassing signs and cut across a rectangle diagonally, thereby creating a path, even though it is someone else's private property. And once there is a path, a right to it also seems to be established. This is what is meant by the term grandfather rights. We also see evidence that convenience is one's nature wherever there is a sign saying, post no bills. There will even be a bill stuck right on top of the very sign, perhaps so that the problem will disappear. Thus, convenience is often the governing factor. We want what is convenient, what is pleasant. Easy gratification is exactly what human beings go for. If some work, pain, or effort is involved, we want to avoid it. The human disposition is like that, going after easy, quick gratification, wanting only what pays off immediately. This is our nature. We have therefore created in ourselves a number of raga dveshas which prompt us to perform various actions that are not often in keeping with dharma and adharma. To go against dharma, the Lord, is to go against the order that is the Lord. And this is adharma. So we'll stop here today. So we understood why, what is kushala, what is kaushala, what is samatva, and why we have to recognize Ishvara as the karma phaladata. And all these three aspects are required for karma yoga. To become a karma yogi. Anyone else wants to share? Please go ahead. And in this last paragraph, we've come to understand that what is convenient. If we are doing only what is convenient, we are going with our ragas and dveshas. Whereas when you go with your commitment, you're going along with the order of dharma. What is to be done? Small example, if you have some work to be done at home, say cleaning up or folding the clothes, versus watching a movie, we often want easy gratification. Say, oh, I will do this later. And we put off that work to later. Procrastination sets in. And we tend to follow the path of convenience. I mean, I'm just giving a small example. We can give any other example, but so convenience versus commitment. Will decide whether your life is being governed by your ragadveshas or commitment. Anyone else wants to share? We'll chant the Shanti mantra. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the efforts. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. and you may gently open your eyes.